And ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the 41st ever episode of the Best Phone Plans Podcast, completely ignoring the Patreon exclusive stream that happened only moments prior. Welcoming us, I want to welcome Dennis to the podcast. Dennis, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Always good to be on and back.
Great to see you. Dennis, I'm really liking the beard. It's getting nice and floofy.
No, I want it desperately cut very
Oh,
badly.
really? Oh, my goodness. Sorry, I should have brought it up. I also want to welcome our friends Joey and Debo Pop in the live chat right now. Welcome, you guys. Great to have you here.
Real
We've
quick,
got what?
I said, oh, sorry. Real quick, I just want to say, Stetson, every single stream, you find a different way to pronounce Debo Bop's name.
Yep.
But okay.
Debo Pop. I read it, and it says Debo Pop.
Fair enough.
You know, I actually used my eyeballs to interpret words. This episode, we're talking about Verizon's new prepaid data plans. I've got a secret that I didn't even tell Dennis about, which is going to be epic. We've got US Mobile providing some updates on eSIM and ultra-wideband 5G access, Boost Mobile's new smartphone, and of course, Dennis and I love to sprinkle in some spicy takes. That's actually, it's mostly Dennis, I would say. He's got the Dennis seasoning, the signature sauce coming in the podcast. So are you ready to rip, Dennis?
Yeah, where do we want to get started?
I think we got to start with Verizon's new prepaid data-only plans. And I'll actually bring this up on the live stream so people can see it. We'll get the old share screen going, and you can see it too, Dennis, as we populate this. So what we got here, this is from our friends RV Mobile Internet Resource Center. I actually put this link in the video description so you can check it out, and I will paste it in the live chat if you're interested to learn more. They have a great article on these plans. And Dennis, basically what happened is the prepaid data-only plans, these are for hotspots, tablets, or other data-only devices, they got an upgrade. They got an update. These are the new plans and prices. Basically $40 for 5 gigs, $60 for 25 gigs, $80 for 100 gigs, and $100 for 150 gigs. That was a lot. Check the screen right now so you can see all the details. And there's an epic discount. You can see you can get the $40 plan for as low as, it's actually a $30 discount. It's a $30 discount across the board. Dennis, you're probably wondering, well, Stetson, how do I get this discount? It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Dennis, you get this discount by adding the line. So if you're an existing prepaid Verizon subscriber, you can add on a tablet plan, get 5 gigs of data in your tablet, $10 a month. You can add on 25 gigs to a tablet or a hotspot device, $30 a month. Add on 100 gigs for $50, or add on 150 gigs for $70. So I did a lot of yammering right there to outline these plans. Dennis, what are your thoughts on these new Verizon prepaid hotspot plans?
At their normal prices, 1,000,000% not worth it.
Wow, 1,000,000%. Not 100%, 10%, 1,000,000% not worth it.
Yeah. But with the discounted pricing, they're pretty good. Like $50 for 100 gigabytes of data. I think, if I remember correctly, doesn't T-Mobile have something very comparable at that price range?
I think T-Mobile does that exact rate, and I think AT&T does $55 for 100 gigabytes.
Yes, like that makes sense. At $80, it doesn't, and then 150 gigs for $100. No,
dude, it's like the Verizon tax. Verizon has the Verizon tax similar to Apple has the Apple tax, right? Like you go to any other network, you can get these plans for way less, and then you go to Verizon, they're like, "Yep, we're Verizon. We're gonna take the entire wallet, your whole wallet, ours now. Nope, you don't get anything." You know, you go to AT&T.
And we want your kidney too.
Yeah, and your kidney. We're going to need that. Nope, both kidneys. That's right. You go to AT&T or T-Mobile, and they're like, yeah, we're going to need a credit card. And you're like, okay, cool.
What's up, Carlos? Speaking of Verizon tax, so I will just say, thanks to the man, the myth, the legend, Carlos, as you know, I've had Verizon access recently. And I can see where the Verizon tax comes from to a certain extent. Like,
yeah.
Verizon,
what do you mean by that?
Well, I have quickly found out that Verizon has not updated their coverage map in quite some time, it appears, because I am seeing ultra wideband 5G literally like everywhere.
Whoa, what do you mean by that? So you're in Pittsburgh. Some areas are pretty rural. You're more in the city, my understanding,
Suburb,
or
but
suburb of the city. Like, where are you bumping into ultra wideband in your daily routine, the Dennis world?
basically anywhere that's downtown's Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
ultra wideband is there. Like you're
Wow.
literally walking, like not walking, you're literally driving full on blocks and not disconnecting from 5G ultra wideband at any point.
That is sick. That
Um
sounds like Denver. Like Denver is very much approaching that.
and then it's like literally I've connected along highways like 376, US 22, just outside like the Fort Pitt tunnels. Like it's surprising. And then getting outside the city, like when I was like driving home from McKnight Road,
Yeah.
I was literally connecting to 5G ultra wideband on like sporadic parts of the highway because there was small cells on top of like a Mexican restaurant, just like a taco place.
Wow.
Like it is. I'll put it to you this way. I think that I connected to more 5G ultra wideband than AT&T's like 5G at certain points or T-Mobile's N41 at certain points.
That's crazy, but I would believe it. I think AT&T 5G is like a ghost network, at least where I live. And I would understand Verizon, like when you're in a city and Verizon has been going ham on the millimeter wave deployments, it's kind of surprising. You can stay connected and you can enjoy those juicy speeds.
Well, here's the thing, Stetson. I'm not even a 5G city on Verizon's coverage map. I don't even have the little black dot.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that
if
is
it's
still outdated.
So my point is, if it's that good in Pittsburgh, right? Just imagine what it's like in Cleveland, where it's
Ooh.
actually blanketed in a 5G city, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, like I can see why there's a Verizon tax that goes into things, and the thing that's also really impressive about it, and you can tell it's making a difference, is look at the LTE speeds. Like Verizon, as we know, there's lots of areas where Verizon is congested because they just don't have a lot of spectrum. But in areas where Verizon has the 5G deployed, like we're talking about, Verizon's LTE speeds are even wild. Like they make the most frugal amount of spectrum turn into speeds that are much faster than T-Mobile, with the exception of when T-Mobile has N41 deployed.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So like, yeah, I've been very, very
You're getting it.
impressed by Verizon's speeds where they're doing it right. But more importantly, too, one other thing I will just say, if we're talking about just bars on phone, we don't care about speed. I haven't had a single instance yet where I've had no service show up as on my Verizon line.
Wow.
Not once.
Yeah. So with this new speed test data, like how do you kind of rank the providers in your market in the Pittsburgh area?
So I told this to Carlos over the phone. If we're talking about best overall, which means the combination of capacity and coverage and performance and everything like AT&T still just clearly wins. But right next to that, or right followed up by that would be Verizon, with one caveat. You need a plan that has some type of priority data because it definitely matters for when you're connecting on the older LTE, and it needs to be a plan that actually supports the full gambit of 5G. Like if you're not getting 5G ultra wideband, then you're missing out on so much goodness, basically. Yeah. And by that I mean like if you have like Verizon Starter, for example, right? Like
what are you doing? Please switch. Well, what do you think of the hotspot plans then? Like circling back here, because only the 100 gigabyte and the 150 gigabyte plans, going for $80 and $100 respectively, actually include access to 5G ultra wideband. The other plans don't have that.
You brought it full circle for me. To me, in my eyes, that means the 25 gig plan and the 5 gig plan are pointless. And the only good option here from a value standpoint is that $50 plan.
Yeah. I mean, I would almost counter this though, because like what 5G hotspot devices are there and what 5G tablet devices are there, right? Like the only tablet I'm currently aware of, and Samsung probably has one that I just haven't been following, the iPad Pro with M1 is the only millimeter wave 5G tablet I'm aware of, or at least that's available from Apple, right? So maybe not really missing out on too much. And then we just had the Netgear Nighthawk M1 come out with ultra wideband 5G.
I mean, you're right, that's an issue and all, but like I'm gonna put it this way, like Verizon's, like I said, Verizon's LTE network is consistent. You're going to have bars, but if we're talking about capacity, it's not. You're not going to get a 200 megabit per second speed test very regularly on Verizon's LTE, right? Like that's AT&T's main, right? But you'll get 50, which all the time, pretty much, which is usable, right?
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the use case of a hotspot, right? I picture hotspot connecting to a computer. Maybe you're connecting it to like your Nintendo Switch or whatever. You want millimeter wave, right? You want all that sweet speed in those circumstances. You don't want to be waiting around to download that important document for work.
It's true. And with Microsoft and Google and honestly now Amazon announcing and promoting and advertising their cloud streaming devices and services, you're going to want ultra wideband access on a tablet. Like gaming on a tablet, infinitely better than gaming on a phone. And if you get that cloud gaming experience and it's good, a millimeter wave, I think that would be awesome. And I want to thank Ethan. The Galaxy Tab S7 and S7 FE do support millimeter wave. So it is more limited, the selection of tablets, to my point, especially in the Apple ecosystem. But yet to Dennis, your point, like it is a great experience add-on. And Verizon, I guess to kind of counter my own point, Verizon does have some 5G hotspot devices, not the Netgear Nighthawk M5, excuse me. I think I said M1 before, but the Netgear N5 is unlocked, and that's why we like it, because you can switch between Los Mobile, Verizon, or other plans and carriers. But Verizon does have their own dedicated hotspots that you could get as well.
And Stetson, one more thing I want to say. Everything I just said is before C-band.
Oh, you're so right. So what's the deal with C-band, Dennis? Like, why is C-band important? And especially in the context of Verizon branding 5G ultra wideband.
So C-band is important because this is a nice, clean mid-band spectrum. It's going to do for Verizon what N41 has been doing for T-Mobile, where it's been deployed proper, basically giving the mix of great coverage with great capacity. And the reason why it's important in the case of Verizon is because C-band is going to be treated in the same way that ultra wideband is when it comes to on like device usage, which means full glorious 4K streaming. You know, there's really no limitations, right? Like Verizon doesn't really hardball you when it comes to being connected to ultra wideband. You get to do whatever you want on your phone, and the same applies for C-band since it's considered high frequency stuff. In their eyes.
And you're exactly right. I mean, you're getting 4K streaming on ultra wideband on the higher tier plans here, whereas the other plans simply say HD streaming. I actually checked the Verizon website, and when I went to their tablet lines, they weren't available. But I think, Dennis, we should call out the plans are an improvement. I mean, before you were looking at, I clicked on prepaid tablets. It's my mistake. You were looking at $35 for 6 gigs, expensive. $45 for 16 gigs, also expensive. And $65 for 30 gigs. So Verizon, in some instances, like the $60 plan, they added a lot more data, and they added 2 more plans that are much nicer to see. But Dennis,
sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Let's round this out, and then I have my surprise. You're not going to see this coming.
Okay. My only gripe is that when it comes to 5G usage for the data only plans, Verizon's still doing that BS where like after you use up the data, like it's gonna get like throttled.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I actually didn't see that. I think it goes down to 3 megabits per second.
Right.
On ultra wideband.
Which seems really lame because like I'm pulling like 3.8 gigabits per second on ultra wideband, right? Why 3? And why?
You're literally 1,000th of the speeds. Like, you know what? No, we don't want you to have speeds.
Actually, 1/3000th of the speed.
Oh, no. Call.
No, you did the math right. I'm sorry.
Cool. Yeah, so this is from, again, RV Mobile Internet Resource Center. I love what they're doing. This is linked in the description if you want to check it out for yourself and learn more. So when you go over your network access and you're connected to 5G ultra wideband, speeds are throttled to 3 megabits per second. And then on LTE or 5G nationwide, the speeds are slowed to 600 kilobits per second. And again, this is Verizon prepaid, so they're deprioritized. Something to keep in mind. Dennis, are you ready for the surprise?
I am.
Remember how we've had past shows. Will Verizon release a cell phone plan with truly unlimited priority data? Do you remember that? We talked about it. We didn't think so. Dennis, What if I told you they have released a plan with truly unlimited priority data? This is Verizon themselves, and these are their brand new business plans. So check this out. This is, I think, my understanding from since when I started following this is the third iteration of the plans. They had like names from before, and then it was 1.0, and now we're on 2.0. Verizon's Business Plans 2.0. So check this out, Dennis. Business unlimited start, $30 a month, unlimited data. You get 5 gigs of high-speed hotspot data, and then it's unlimited at 600 kilobits per second. Business Unlimited Plus 2.0, $35 a month, 100 gigabytes of premium data, and then you're getting 100 gigabytes of hotspot data before it's slowed down to 600 kilobits per second on 4G, 5G, and 3 megabits per second on 5G ultra wideband. Oh, excuse me. It looks like that is 50 gigabytes of hotspot data. And then Business Unlimited Pro 2.0, $45 a month, unlimited premium network access. Your data speeds will never slow down based on how much data you use. And this is where you're getting 100 gigs of hotspot data. Boom. Dennis, what are your thoughts? What are your reactions to these business plans 2.0 from Verizon?
I think they're great, but
there's always a big but with Verizon.
They're business plans,
right?
Yeah. So, like, for consumers, which is the majority of the populace, it does nothing for them. Also,
actually, it shows them how bad the consumer plans are. Consumer plans went from having 75 gigabytes of premium data. Now they're down to 50 gigabytes. Here on the business side of things, Verizon starts you off with 100 gigabytes as their entry-level premium offering and then gives you unlimited.
Yeah. Also, I'll just say, like as I made it clear, like, I have Verizon access through Los. I'm going to ride and die on that Verizon access through Los. Like, I don't want to give Verizon money directly.
Yeah.
Because I don't like rewarding bad behavior. And I find that, like, that unlimited mobile hotspot plan, right? There's caveats, right? Like, hover over the little eye again so it shows for the unlimited mobile hotspot on the $45 plan real quick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the unlimited mobile hotspot, it's 100 gigs per line per month before the slowed speeds.
Yes, that's not unlimited in my eyes at all. And what was it when you hovered over the $35 one?
It's 50 gigs.
No, hold on. So what's this say? Temporarily slower traffic only after 100 gigabytes of line of smartphone and mobile hotspot data. So it slows at 100 gigs.
Well, then it says mobile hotspot data reduced after 50 gigs a line a month.
Right. Okay.
So I think it's like when your total usage exceeds 100 gigabytes, then it'll be deprioritized. And when your hotspot usage exceeds 50 gigabytes, you're just slowed down for the hotspot data usage.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, these are big improvements. Don't get it wrong. I just, like, things that I would like to see is, one, 5G ultra wideband. I want the throttle to go away. Like, there is no reason for the throttle to be there.
Or even make it 25 megabits per second. Like, you should be able to stream 4K all the time on ultra wideband.
Bro, make it, dude, 3.8 gigabits per second. Okay, make it 100 megabytes for the soft throttle if you have to or 200 like they do with Visible, right? Like,
honestly, yeah, Visible. Actually, Dennis, I was saying earlier, Visible is a better plan than Business Unlimited Start 2.0, right? Business Unlimited Start 2.0, you're deprioritized at all times out of the gate, and you only get 5 gigs of high-speed hotspot data before you're slowed down to 600 kilobits per second. Visible.
And it's $5 cheaper.
Visible, yes. Visible, not only $5 cheaper, arguably $5 to $10 cheaper after you add in taxes and fees to Verizon, but you get unlimited data that's deprioritized and unlimited hotspot data at 5 megabits per second. I think that's a better deal. Yeah. And for a lower cost.
Yeah, and I will just say, though, not having priority data on Verizon sucks. Bad.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when my first experience downloading Verizon testing was US Mobile.
Yeah.
And the speeds were trash, right?
They were slower. They were slower.
No, it wasn't slower. It was trash, like
Yeah.
unusable trash. And part of that was because at the time there was no support for 5G,
Yeah.
which we're going to touch on that. That's being fixed here, thank God. But priority does matter with Verizon, especially right now until C-band is deployed. It really matters unless you're in like an area where ultra wideband is deployed. Now, real quick, I slightly off topic, but we're getting a lot of comments coming in. I like to address a couple real quick if that's cool with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Comment Q&A time. Let's hit them. What do we got?
Right. Well, first, there was a comment that I saw earlier that was talking about how Verizon's ultra wideband basically doesn't matter unless you're in a high density place. And I want to address that person and say that is just not true. Because I was seeing it in places that weren't dense, like stadium dense or anything like that, and it was definitely worthwhile. It's popping up in a lot of places where I think Verizon is trying to offer the home internet, which I think is another huge component. And, we talk about home internet replacements all the time. When it comes to wireless, I think ultra wideband is the one that's really meant for that, right? Like N41, sure, you can kind of do it, but let's be real here. If we're talking about a home internet use case, that millimeter wave is really where it's at.
It is really where it's at. And there was actually a great article. I think it was either Light Reading or it was on another like telecom based website. And I was a review of using Verizon as a home internet, and the millimeter wave frequencies that Verizon is using is a legitimate offer. It is awesome. So let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I found the comment. It was from Terminator. He said millimeter wave is worthless in real world other than in areas with high customer density. Yeah, like millimeter wave has improved a lot. Like the range from like one small cell has been pretty tremendous. Like I would say for my testing, I would say the range is probably been about maybe like a football field and a half.
Yep.
About a football field and a half, which that's a lot better than when it first happened, right? Where like a piece of paper, I exaggerate, but
dropped like it hot. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the range has been good, and it's continuing to get better, especially on the like the macro mounted versions of it. Like that's where it's really, really improving, and it's becoming pretty useful. I know that Carlos and Steve have done tests, and they've been getting better range than what I've seen. Now, Pittsburgh's an interesting place when it comes to topography, but that's one thing. And then also, someone else asked me what my thoughts were on the Los access since I've been beta testing it. And that was a more recent.
I pulled up Joey's comment.
Thank you. Yep, that's who it was. So he asked me, how have I found Los Mobile's Verizon as a beta tester? So far, it's been fantastic. Like, Carlos called. I had a conversation or two with Carlos, and I'll just say, like, the Verizon access from Los has truly been game changing. Like, it's given me the best case scenario to like test out the Verizon network because it does support all the features. It really is just like having Verizon access, and it's been great.
Yeah, are you getting like basic features like visual voicemail, voice over LTE, Wi-Fi calling, like some of the basics like that?
Yeah, like everything just works. It just works like a Verizon line. It literally it shows up in the corner of my phone as a Verizon line. Like it doesn't show Los Mobile, it doesn't show US Mobile, it just shows up as Verizon. And I checked my data usage. When I last checked, I used 64 gigabytes of data so far, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you guys got to remember this is like a secondary line that has been being used a lot when I'm out and about. Although I've been keeping off the Wi-Fi to try to really push it harder and harder because I'm really trying to test it out. And look, it's just been great. It's really great. I can't wait until we get out of the beta testing phase because I think this is going to mean a lot to a lot of people where Verizon does better for them in their markets. And I think for any consumers, I have a feeling that this is probably going to be the better option overall just because Verizon's pricing is just so outrageous.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted, what was it? Go Play More or whatever.
Well, I mean, let's just take a look. We had someone asking about the business plans, right? I listed some great prices there, but that was for 5 or more lines. If you're a single line customer trying to get these plans, you're looking at $70 a month for business unlimited start, $80 a month for Business Unlimited Plus, and $95 per month for Business Unlimited Pro.
And that's before taxes.
This is before taxes. So I think the Business Unlimited Plus is a pretty good deal. It's basically the same as Play More and Do More, but you're getting more network features like double the priority data and way more hotspot data, up to 50 gigabytes, as opposed to all of the perks and benefits like Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Apple Music, and other like fluff. You're not getting fluff. You're getting a great cell phone plan. The Business Unlimited Pro, it's premium, it's expensive, but it is the only plan right now with truly unlimited data, unlimited priority data on the Verizon network.
Yeah, but after taxes, it's probably going to be like $110.
It's expensive for sure.
Which,
for sure.
I don't know what pricing is going to look like for Los, but I guarantee it's not going to be $110.
Yeah, it's going to be less than that.
Yeah.
So that has been that. And yeah, it sounds like Los Mobile Verizon, to sum that up, has been outstanding for you, and you're just excited. We're excited to have that officially launch.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very excited. I'm really glad that Los is doing what he's doing, and I'm glad that he has, or will be soon having, access to all three of the carriers, because I feel, and we've said this before, Los has come a long way with his company, and I feel like if you're a premium user that values no fluff, no filler, just want a really great plan, Los has been the go-to guy for that.
Yeah. These are available, but they're expensive, and you do need a LLC or some sort of registered business in order to sign up for these.
Carlos asked you, when are you going to test the line?
Yeah. Carlos, when you get me one, man, I've got some phones here that could use one. We got 13 Pro. We've got 13. Hit me up in the DMs, and we'll get something set up and activated so I can test it out. Do some side-by-side.
One last comment, or one last statement before I flip us over to the next thing I want to talk about. The reason why the Verizon Access specifically is so impactful is because Verizon doesn't have any good consumer plans in my eyes from the premium user side of things, right? For the people that are like me, right? Or you, right? Like AT&T, right? They have Unlimited Elite, which, as long as you don't care about Hotspot, Unlimited Elite's pretty great, especially with all the discounts. Like, you can get into a range where it becomes comparably priced, right? T-Mobile has Magenta Max, which, again, if you don't care about Hotspot, gets you in a semi-comparable range, right? Verizon doesn't have any of that unless you go on the business side, and then even then it's like heaven and earth difference as far as pricing goes and stuff like that. So that is why the Los Mobile Verizon Access is so, like, to take a page out of Sneed's book, tremendous. But with that being said, on the topic of Verizon Access, let's talk about what we've been seeing going on with US Mobile finally.
Dennis, what a beautiful segue. And we've been seeing some beautiful things from US Mobile. This is coming from the CEO of US Mobile, Ahmed Katak. This is his Twitter page. And they just posted this video. It's muted right now. I'm going to start it from the beginning so you can all check this out. US Mobile saying they're fast, but how fast? Looking at a phone, it says US Mobile 5G UW, which we know stands for ultra wideband, Verizon's 5G ultra wideband network. And boom, look at this speed test. It starts out and it just climbs and climbs and climbs, and it doesn't stop climbing. Over 3,000 megabits per second. Holy bananas, Dennis.
And look at the uplink and look at the ping.
Ping, I think, is pretty good. 15 milliseconds.
Yeah.
The uplink, garbage.
No, I was saying the uplink was good.
Really?
Well, okay, Stetson, as someone that's testing Xfinity right now, what's your upload speed over cable?
My upload speed over cable is 35. Actually, I think it's supposed to be 50 megabits per second.
It's 35, but
it's 35. I was right the first time. It's 35 megabits per second.
Yeah. So that is almost triple what you're getting from Comcast or most cable providers, right?
And this is hardwired cable directly into my apartment.
Also, the ping, I was saying as a good thing, because that is approaching cable territory levels of latency. There was a little bit of jitter on it, but like 15 ping is really, really good. Like, yeah. That's really good.
I was blown away.
That's good.
It's really good. Do you think, this is a little bit off topic, do you think US Mobile will eventually have some sort of home internet option?
No.
Yeah.
No way.
I
No
would hope
way.
so. I mean, if they add support for hotspot devices, you could kind of pay per use. It would be expensive, but it might be possible. But
I was
either
gonna
way,
say in the same sense that I mean, remember, US Mobile went from not being able to offer true unlimited because people abuse things, right? Like,
yeah,
there's no
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Unless they charge stupid money, but in which case, why would you pick it when you could just get
yeah.
Verizon some internet, right?
So I think, yeah, this is a really great, really, really cool to see. So US Mobile Ultra Wideband 5G coming hopefully October. What this shows is that US Mobile has access to the tools and resources they need. They would say officially from their quote unquote carrier partner, but we all know it's Verizon. Like, they're working with Verizon behind the scenes to make this happen. So I'm really excited this is coming. The second big update is a little bit more minor, possibly more niche, but it is eSIM. So check this out. We've got a P line and an S line. Those stand for primary and secondary. Indicates two lines active at the same time on an iPhone, which means one of them has to be on eSIM, and it's probably this secondary line up top. So that means eSIM profiles and configurations are in development. It's in beta. Hopefully, we see this soon. I'm so excited.
Stetson, you said it was niche, but I actually think that's the bigger feature and more pressing than the 5G ultra wideband support at the moment.
Dennis, that's a great call.
Because if you think about it for a moment, okay, think about how most people would use US Mobile, right? I mean, there's some people out there, they might use it for the primary line, but I would say there's an even bigger demographic that when it comes to prepaid does do dual SIM to get the better coverage, where they might do like Mint Mobile access for their primary line and then, Visible or US Mobile for their secondary to get that Verizon, that well-renowned Verizon coverage, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So having eSIM is crucial.
I guess you're right. I mean, it plays such a big role, especially now that with the new iPhone 13 Pro and iPhone 13, you're not just getting one eSIM, Dennis. You're getting two eSIM slots.
Yes.
That's insane.
And also worth mentioning is think about how you interact with these MVNO companies, right? It's pretty silly to have to wait days on end to get your physical SIM card in the mail, right? Like,
yeah.
Considering how incredible their app is and everything else, like eSIM just ties in nicely with that overall experience, which to this day, there's so many companies I feel like can still learn a lot from US Mobile when it comes to making a great app that is just pleasurable to work with.
So true. So true.
They nailed that. Like, I think Ahmed even said it at one point. They're a technology company that happens to sell cell phone service. I think
yeah. You got it exactly correct. They made a beautiful experience. I will say, though, you should not be like US Mobile or Tesla and promise features that aren't ready. And I do want to call out, we've got Lord Doritos 1 in the chat saying coming October, meaning October 2022. Yes, eSIM and Verizon Ultra Wideband 5G have been in the works for a long time from US Mobile and teased or alluded to multiple times. In fact, Dennis, we had ultra wideband 5G plans slated to launch literally last year. We're talking like June 2020. Of course, the ultra wideband didn't come, but we did get those new great plan updates. $45 a month for unlimited, the $25 a month multi-line discount in the plan perks. But yeah, I mean, it's true. I think for US Mobile, they need to get these features out and they should start setting deadlines that they can hit instead of setting unreasonable expectations.
Pause for a second because you glossed over something really important here. You talk about new great plans. Even when those new plans rolled out, there was some major issues. If you remember, True Unlimited was the promise, but people saw there was the video throttle still, and there was all kinds of other issues, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, what we ended up getting once things kind of got refined because some people were abusing it is I don't want to call it fake unlimited, but a plan that has 75 gigabytes of fast data, right?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it is one of the best plans you can still get on the Verizon network. I think the problem is like how the plan is marketed, how it started out as being truly unlimited, and then how it inevitably ended up with the cap. Like,
that's the key point, right? They promised something that was like this, and we got this, which is still great. It's better. In fact, 75 gigs is still higher of a cap than what Verizon gives.
Yeah,
for some
like
of their
Verizon
stuff.
directly, yeah.
So like, it's good stuff, and like the customer support is fantastic. Like, plenty of things to love, but You know,
They gotta stop over promising and under delivering and just deliver. And I think people will be very happy with that.
I think one thing that US Mobile needs to, and just people in general need to understand, and US Mobile needs to always remember, is they can't try to be the premium option. I don't think, in my opinion, like they can be premium in certain things, but as far as the actual network access and stuff, I don't think that's where US Mobile belongs.
Yeah.
Leave that for people like Carlos. Leave that for people like Verizon Direct, right? You know what I'm saying?
There was a poll on Reddit asking like how much would you pay? Because US Mobile has teased that priority network access might be coming soon, trademarked. Whatever, it's something they're thinking about and possibly exploring. And there was a poll like how much would you pay for it? And it was like maybe $5 extra, $10 extra, $20 extra. And I think what people may not realize is it's expensive to have priority network access. And all you need to do is look at Xfinity Mobile and Spectrum Mobile, right? Like they're by the gig plans. While great for families, for a single line, what you're paying per gigabyte is pretty expensive, right? You're getting a gig for, is it 3 gigs? 3 gigs for $15, or that seems too high?
No, it's 1 gig for 15, 3 gigs for 30, and then
3 gigs for 30
for
and
60.
Yeah. So like you think, all right, for $30, you can get 3 gigs of priority data on Xfinity Mobile. Or for the same $30, you can get 30 gigabytes of deprioritized data on US Mobile. Like that's the cost difference right there. So I think if they do it, I think it'd be a cool option. But ultimately, I think it's going to be just as expensive as Verizon.
Yeah. Let's see. They charge $45 for unlimited right now. So you basically might as well tack on for
$30
them. Yeah, they'd probably tack on like $30.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's taxes and fees included, with how US Mobile's doing things on unlimited.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's not cheap to offer, to offer premium stuff unless you're doing things as a company to reduce your profit margins, which I mean, I like Ahmed Katak, but he's still a company, he's still running a business.
He's a business.
Right?
He's a businessman.
He's not going to do things out of the kindness of his heart for things like that, especially for such a niche audience, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a small sliver of a percentage of people who really need that extra data. So that is US Mobile. Dennis, I think, actually seeing Carlos in the chat reminded me of, he was doing some great network testing on the new iPhone 13 Pro. I think it was actually the Pro Max, excuse me. I know Carlos likes to go big with his phones, but he was doing some network testing issues because apparently the new phones, iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro, are having issues with Verizon 5G and AT&T 5G. Can you kind of give us a rundown? Like, what have people been experiencing with their new devices? What do we need to know right now?
Yeah, so from my understanding of how this situation is playing out, is it's not actually an issue with Apple's iPhone. It's an issue with the specific carriers and how it's like being provisioned, from my understanding of things. Like something is going on where I don't know the finer detailed points of how this is working, but basically for whatever reason, iPhone 13s across the board for Verizon and AT&T aren't connecting like 5G ultra wideband, and they're being forced to connect to LTE. And if Carlos is still here in the chat, maybe he could speak to a little bit better knowledge and understanding of it. But that's the end result, is they're not connecting to 5G, which kind of sucks.
I think it's mostly ultra wideband. Actually, you might be right. Is it 5G in general?
I'm pretty sure it's 5G in general.
5G in general. Yeah, I mean, I remember Carlos sitting in his car, awesome speed test, just like, here's the new 13 Pro Max on this like awesome Verizon plan, not getting 5G access, stuck on LTE. So I think that can definitely be improved. One good thing, though, that was improved is the field test mode in iPhone. You now get tons of great data in there presented in a beautiful way. So definitely, if you're curious what your connection is like, you're like, wow, Stetson and Dennis are talking about getting 40 or 50 or 60 megahertz of N41 and carrier aggregating bands together. If you go into the field test mode on your iPhone, you actually should start to see some of that extra juicy information, which is pretty cool, related to your connection.
It's a lot better, but Samsung service mode is still
Oh, yeah. Boom. Miles, years.
Also, the problem with Apple's service mode, this makes me upset, is they don't give third-party developers API access, which is why you don't see coverage tools like SillMapper available in the Apple App Store. So, that also kind of sucks. But real quick, I want to highlight Carlos's more recent comment. He talked about people were abusing Total Wireless's ultra wideband.
Oh yeah, did you hear about this?
No.
All right, so I've been loosely following this in the background. Didn't want to bring too much attention to it because it's one of those gems, Dennis. It's one of those secret glitches in the matrix where something beautiful happens and everyone gets to enjoy it. Think of AT&T's unlimited tablet plan that you could put into a hotspot. People loved that until it was abused and AT&T shut it down. Similar thing with this is actually an MVNO called Total Wireless. They have a pretty jank website, and I think it's owned by the sort of that conglomerate. What was it?
Down in Mexico?
Yeah, I think it's like a TracFone sub brand or something. Don't 100% quote me on that, but I'm like 90% sure. Anyway, what happened was Total Wireless on the Verizon network got ultra wideband 5G access, and I think it was getting unlimited hotspot data. And feel free to correct me if I'm mistaken on this, but it looks like two people were using over 10 terabytes each per month. And of course, what does that do to Total Wireless? They're typically paying per gig for their customer data usage. That's going to cost them a lot of money. What are they going to do? They're going to shut it down. And that is exactly what happened. So,
see, there's two things I want to say on that front. With the kind of speed you get on ultra wideband, I can see why that's possible to do. But also on the same token, what the hell? What the hell? Like legit, the only way you're using that kind of usage is if you're torrenting. Like
doing something like that.
Like you got to be torrenting, or you're like literally running a legit like enterprise grade like business over that. Like, what the hell, guys? Like, come on. Like, I hate data caps. I've went on record and said I hate data caps. Like 1.2 terabytes, I dislike. 2 terabytes, it's more reasonable for today. But if you're doing anything past 2 terabytes, realistically speaking, you're a consumer. Unless it's like a one-off situation where, like, I don't know, God destroyed your gaming PC that you have like 9 terabytes of storage on, and then you have a USB external drive that you're connecting for extra storage you have to re-download. How? Like, on a consistent basis, how are you using 10 terabytes a month?
Yeah. And this is also, you have to keep in mind, a cell network. It's one thing, Dennis, when you're at home, you've built a premium top-of-the-line gaming PC, and you're downloading all your favorite games and updates for all your favorite games that are hundreds of gigabytes. It's another thing to be on a literal cellular network trying to do this kind of stuff. So that was the glitch in the Matrix. That was beautiful, and now it's gone.
And Carlos said it was a huge glitch that he'll tell us behind the scenes. So
yeah,
cool.
So people got to enjoy it. I didn't make any videos about it. It's one of those things you got to balance. You know, some people who are in the know, they're on the Reddit, they'll get to the first dibs, get to experience it. But once it blows up, sometimes it blows up in your face. And I think that will bring us to, let's talk Boost Mobile, Dennis.
Okay.
Boost Mobile, owned by Dish. You know what they did, Dennis?
What they do?
Actually, they launched a phone. And Dennis, this reminds me a lot. I know people gave you some crap for your price for life idea, but I think Dish might have heard you, Dennis. Because with this 5G phone, I'm going to pull up an article from The Verge here. And with this 5G phone, it's the Celero 5G. Apparently, Celero is a Latin word for speed. Okay, whatever that means. But with this phone, Dennis, you get 12 months of free service from Boost Mobile, and it's their $50 unlimited plan. Of course, it's not truly unlimited. It's actually a 35 gig plan, but that's a $600 value for this $279 5G phone. So
that's tremendous. Like,
it's almost like your price for life, because you're committed, you're locked in for a year at that rate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different, but that's still incredible, especially because AT&T access.
Yes. And that should be launching pretty soon. I think this is coming out, I think October 31st is when pre-orders are ending. I think that's when the deal ends. So if you pre-order by October 31st, you get 12 months of free service on Boost Mobile. I might honestly do that just to like follow it. Like, that's so cheap. $279 for a year of service. I'm so used to doing that with Mint Mobile already. Like, that's actually very comparable to Mint Mobile's plan, right? Because it's $30 times 12 months, $360. Like, Mint Mobile's annual plan is more expensive than this. And with this, you're getting a free 5G phone.
I was gonna say it's better than Mint Mobile from a value standpoint.
Yeah.
And also the phone doesn't look to be too shabby. Like it
What do you think of this phone right now, Dennis?
like externally, like not talking about guts of it, externally, it looks nice to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a plastic back, I'm sure, but like if you went out on that, you wouldn't be ashamed of your smartphone. Right? Like it looks attractive, right? And you're gonna have a case on it anyway. I think Dish is hooking you up with a free case too, if my memory serves me.
Oh, yeah, they are. You're correct.
So like, honestly, FB, like this is like a good, like great deal.
It's a great deal. We don't know if the phone is great. It looks great. Looks kind of like an iPhone.
I mean, it's a budget Android phone, so tempered expectations, right?
Tempered expectations. You got 4 cameras. You got your selfie camera on the front. You've got 3 on the back, probably your ultra wide, your wide, and your telephoto. You got your flash. It looks like a glass back or probably a plastic back, and that's going to support wireless charging, hopefully. Power button, maybe some sort of fingerprint reader. But the big kicker with the specs looks like 6.5-inch 6.52-inch display, 36 hours of battery life, 4 gigs of RAM, micro SD card slot, thank you, 64 gigs of internal storage. And The Verge is hypothesizing it's probably powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 690 5G chip. So
yeah, decent phone. Like, I mean, a lot of phone there for not a lot of money is what I'd say.
Yeah, a great value, as you mentioned it. And the one thing I'm wondering is like, who's making this, right?
I don't know.
No idea.
It's probably some Chinese company that's being like rebranded, is what I would guess.
Yeah.
But man, that is really good value.
And we got the updates. It's start shipping October 17th, it looks like, and AT&T access is coming on the 15th.
Stetson, I got a great question for you.
Yeah.
Is this deal good enough that you would actually consider switching from Mint Mobile to Boost Mobile?
Oh God.
Like, you're not doing what we do today. Like, you're just an average consumer again. Do you make the switch?
I mean, honestly, just looking at the service level, 35 gigs and the $279, like, that's a good deal. It's a good deal on the service alone. And you're getting AT&T, which is pretty good. If I could take the SIM card and pop it in an iPhone,
well, you can get T-Mobile access still if you want.
I would definitely consider it. Seriously consider it. Like, if I'm a value-oriented consumer, you're probably missing out on customer support, eSIM, things like that. I would give it a whirl.
Customer support. One thing in favor of Boost, though, is they do have physical locations that you can visit.
This is true.
But here's another question. Is this the absolute best value option, or does Visible still hold the crown on that from like a value point?
I think Visible, $25 a month, truly unlimited. You can't beat it. This is 35 gigs, so
35 gigs, but
yeah,
but you're getting a phone, like an actually decent phone out of it.
We'll see, right? I feel like we need the reviews before we praise this too much.
Are you actually going to order one though? Because I'm not going to order one because I personally wouldn't use the phone, right? Like
I think for my channel, like, considering how expensive iPhones are, like $280 is nothing for a year of service.
On the topic of iPhones, by the way, I might get. I watch a lot of reviews.
Yeah,
I might get a 13
thinking about
Pro.
it.
I might get a 13 Pro. Like
all right,
the
Dennis,
regular Pro. But yeah,
I gotta take a quick break. I'm gonna give you the floor on this. All right.
All right. I'll do Q&A time. So what's all? It's the Dennis. What's up, y'all? It is the Dennis Show. Feel free to hit me with any questions while Stetson does his thing. Okay, Pat, I'm reading your comment about the iPhone 13. What's the RC build? What does RC build stand for when it comes to iOS 15? And I'm checking my settings right now to see. I think I'm updated to the latest version of iOS on my 12 Pro. Yeah, I am. Dennis, hit me up, man. I'd love a 13 Pro. Well, I wouldn't be selling my phone, Debo Bob. I'd be getting it to do side-by-side comparison testing. Do it regular, probably been 9 hours screen time. Yeah, the battery life improvement was the big thing for me, and plus, I feel like the regular Pro size is a better size than the Max. Yeah, I still have the S20 Plus here. What's happened is that more frequently I'm literally carrying around both phones. Although this 12 Pro Max is heavy, like it's a lot heavier than a Galaxy S20 Plus. But I mean, yeah, my Galaxy phone is still my primary phone where important calls and texts go in. Like I'm not changing the number, I'm not popping the SIM card out or anything like that. But I can honestly tell you that this phone has been getting a lot more love because of that Verizon access from Lowe's, and because I've been doing more testing. Release candidate build. Gotcha.
It's true. The update, I got an update on all my devices, which I was surprised by, but it makes sense now. Oh wow, already talking about the S22.
Yeah, that phone is going to be interesting because of the whole fact that it's going to be an Exynos chipset inside based off what we talked about with Sneed. Well, what I talked about with Sneed on his show. So, but do you want to go into personal story about what you've been doing, Stetson, with some personal testing as far as Starlink goes?
Yeah, well, I got a couple of cool things to share. We've got, let me just trying to set this up. It's a purple iPhone, everybody.
Oh, I know what it is. Can I tell him what it is?
Yeah, you can tell him what it is.
All right, guys. So as you know, thanks to so if anybody that's ever been on this show hears this, thank you. Thank you to all the guests that have been on this show, because this show would not be what it is today without your guys' contribution. If any of our fellow guests still watch the show, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. One of the guests that we had on was so kind as to give us a point of contact with like their PR person from Comcast Xfinity. And so we've been working with them, which is the reason why Stetson's currently testing out Comcast Gigabit Internet. And he's able to test out Xfinity Mobile. Comcast was kind enough to send out Stetson an iPhone 12 with the unlimited
plan on Xfinity.
On Xfinity Mobile. So Stetson's going to be able to do some awesome testing. The thing I'm most interested in seeing when he gets the chance is what happens after he reaches the cap on 5G ultra wide.
Oh yeah. So the phone's still setting up right now. So I was hoping it'd be ready to go, but everything needs to download. But Starlink, that is the other story that had going on. Also, make sure you're subscribed to stay tuned for the Xfinity Mobile review. And also, I think I'm going to grab some T-Mobile home internet. We can do a gigabit fiber versus Xfinity's internet versus some T-Mobile home internet. Get a nice comparison in there. And yeah.
Do you still have the Los Mobile line?
I have Los Mobile, but I don't have their tablet line. So maybe I should get I don't have a hotspot line. So maybe I should get a hotspot and grab that as well.
I was gonna say, or you could just turn your phone on hotspot, like
hotspot mode.
But because here's what I was thinking.
AT&T is just so bad in my area. It's like unfortunate.
Fair, but this is something I just want to say real quick before we jump ship. I actually, believe it or not, know some people. They don't have any. Remember when we were talking from the dude from Singapore, and they was telling me like people use their phone for hotspot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know people that literally like they have like enterprise accounts because their company gives them like a company provided phone, and they don't have internet at all at the house. They just use their phone for like literally everything, including like the hotspot. Like, they don't have home internet.
Wow.
So like, and also I can just say, and I can attest, when I was living at the apartment complex, I was using my phone's hotspot to download stuff, and it was doable. So I don't know, maybe you could just do that with your AT&T line too, just for giggles. Even though AT&T is not the best in your specific location, still might not be a bad little thing to show.
Absolutely. Anyway, Starlink. Here's what happened. I was going on a road trip this past weekend, as one does, and my car broke down. Car is in bad shape, everybody. But it presented a very unique and very cool opportunity. I pulled over to this KOA, Campsites of America campsite, and they had free internet there. And, I was kind of against connecting to it at first. I was like, I've got all these cell phone plans. I'll be testing my Los Mobile AT&T line. I'll test out Visible. I'll test out all these different providers. And then I was walking around the main building, and boom, what do I see? Right up top, it's a dish. It is the Starlink dish. I'll see if I can pull it up. I think I was tweeting about it. And I was like, whoa, like this is really cool. I've got to connect to it. I've got to try it out. And so here it is. I'll pull it up right now so you can see it. So this is the site, and you can see that is the dish right there. I actually got a better shot here. Boom. That's the Starlight dish. And this is beautiful, sunny Colorado. So you can see literally like no obstructions whatsoever. The moon is out. The sky is clear. You're not getting any tree branches degrading the signal or anything like that. And they had Ubiquiti gear actually set up and propagating the signal across this campsite. And it reached like pretty far. Like I was going maybe it was like half a football field, like 50 yards down to my little campsite. And I was still getting some reception there. And the speeds were surprisingly good, Dennis. Like here's my results. I was getting 15.3 down was my lowest, 3.87 up. But then I was getting 50 megabits per second down, 11.7 up, 99 down, 11.8 up, 43.3 down, 11.8 up, and 56.2 down, 8.56 up. So I thought really, really good considering the options for this like remote campsite area. I was genuinely impressed and thought it was an outstanding use case for Starlink.
Yes. And I will also just say in Starlink's benefit here, it was public Wi-Fi. So there was probably like 10, 15, maybe 20 people using it at one time, right?
Oh, yeah. Like it's hard to tell, right? And I will say their configuration, unfortunately, was bad because the dish was outside and they had like all the antennas pointing outside to cover the campsites. But inside the lodge, there was no signal. So that was kind of disappointing. But Dennis, to your point, like it's pointing outside. It's covering a bunch of different campers, probably quite a few people connected at the same time. And these are great speeds.
Yeah, because like I'm sure if this was like a use case where it was at your house, like just you using it, I'm sure the speeds would probably be even possibly faster, especially if you're hardwiring in, right? So
yeah, and I think the big thing for me is the consistency. Like I definitely noticed, right? It jumped 50, 99. I guess it was kind of at 50 for most of the tests.
Well, that's the inherent flaw with Wi-Fi.
Having low Earth orbiting satellites broadcasting the signal.
No, I was talking about Wi-Fi in general. Like we don't know if that was a Wi-Fi problem or if that was a Starlink problem. That's what I'm saying. Like that's
a good point.
What I'm getting at now.
I will say one other thing. I stayed at a hotel the next night. The hotel was using Spectrum, and that was getting 25 down and 3 up. So Starlink was faster than Spectrum. Could have been the plan.
Yeah, I was going to say in defense of Spectrum, I'm willing to bet you $100 that's more to do with the hotel not actually paying Spectrum for the faster speed.
Yeah.
Or the hotel made it do the thing where they limit the speed per user because you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, not the best case.
Not the best comparison
Well, for both Starlink or Spectrum, like these are not proper showings for what either of them can actually do, right?
But it was real world.
But it was real world. But I will just say, on the topic of real world, 100%, I'm 100% believer that your instance is the perfect real world scenario where having unlimited hotspot from Los Mobile on AT&T access is like god tier, right?
Oh yeah, when you're out camping. Oh my god. But yeah, it was definitely really cool to kind of stumble. I was always curious about it. I know Carlos, you have it, and shout out to him. It says he says he's using Starlink more than his fiber to support the cause. Giving them some money, testing out the service. I think it's such a cool idea, and imagine putting Starlink in tons of remote campsites across America. Like suddenly you turn these remote destinations into great places to go on retreats. You can download offline maps for your hikes that you're going on and your adventures. You can share some photos when you come back to the campsite. So I think it's a really cool way to get service in more areas, especially in sites like these, which aren't getting Spectrum or Xfinity or AT&T fiber or cable even run to them to provide internet.
And Zachary touched on exactly what I was going for. He said usually at hotels the Wi-Fi system limits bandwidth per IP address.
100% could have been it.
And he was saying at a hotel that he stayed at in West Virginia, they capped it at 1 megabit down and up.
That's not okay.
This is honestly kind of say something real quick disclaimer, a little bit side notey here, but what the hell, Hotels of America? Like what? Like no. As someone that has traveled to like 9 different countries, it is uniquely American that like all hotels have the shittiest internet possible, like absolute dog shit. Like if you go to South Korea, okay, I stayed in like a really, I'm talking like cheap hotel. Like it was technically kind of like a love hotel because it was so cheap. I think it was like, I don't know, $50 for a night, maybe even less.
Wow.
Dude, I was getting 200 megabit per second internet.
What?
Okay.
What?
Yeah. Symmetrical.
That is unreal.
Symmetrical, by the way. All
That
right.
is even more unreal.
Right. Okay. Go into like when I was going across London and like Italy and France, again, Wi-Fi, like ubiquitously available. America, get wrecked unless you're at like some really fancy Hilton, and even then, and like a business luxury suite. But even then, like garbage, right? Like
You actually often have to pay more to get either faster. You have to pay more sometimes to get Wi-Fi at all, and then you have to pay even more on top of that to get usable speeds.
right, which is why I said in a real world scenario, that's when having unlimited hotspot is the one time where I can see it's got there. Like if you're someone, like if you're like a sales consultant or something traveling around the country on a regular basis, having unlimited hotspot becomes god tier in that scenario.
100%. 100%. So,
Oh yeah, and Pat, that's another thing. So Pat mentioned another comment from more of the IT angle. The things that they limit over hotel Wi-Fi too is what also makes it worse. Like VPNs are another thing. Like you talked about connecting this hotel Wi-Fi. My first thought was, dude, that's not secure. I would have been whipping out the VPN immediately. Like,
yeah. Wow. Well, that was a good side tangent. We also did the T-Mobile versus Mint Mobile speed test. I thought that was pretty cool. And shout out to our friend Debo Pop for watching that and liking the speed test videos. Oh boy, do we have speed test videos in the pipeline. They haven't really been started yet. That's the truth. But the ideas are here. I need to acquire some additional phones and get my car fixed because if you missed the last part of the story, the car did break down and I had to get it towed, but it's getting fixed. And once it's fixed, we can actually travel to places that have the cell coverage we need to test it out.
all right, but let's talk about the T-Mobile Mint Mobile speed test that you did recently.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. I mean, I was just like, I've been wondering how they compare. I thought I would do a speed test, got them out. I mean, I'm in an N41 site, so we're getting T-Mobile's mid-band 5G. I actually got the ultra capacity icon to appear in the status bar. I thought that was nice, letting me know, reassuring me I'm in an N41 coverage area. And they both kicked butt. They were awesome.
I think, and I agreed with a lot of comments that I saw in the video, you overhyped Mint there.
Really? Because of the ping.
Yes, that ping was god awful. It reminded me of like Cricket and the same complaints that we had against Visible.
Yeah.
Like that ping was bad.
That ping was bad. So yeah, do you know like what would cause that? Is it how they're routing their traffic, like their special MVNO servers or something? I wasn't 100% sure.
Dude, I don't know because as far as my understanding, I don't think Mint Mobile has their own like stuff like that. I think they were just tying into the core network. I think it just has to do with how T-Mobile's doing the deprioritization.
Oh, that's what you think. That's interesting.
Yeah, which
I'm so down to test more.
Like T-Mobile, what the hell, right? Also, the other thing that really stood out to me is when you ran the speed test with just 2 lines. Okay?
Yeah.
2 lines. The speeds tanked.
So it went from like I got 550. It was 569 was like one of the highest. And actually Magenta Max hit over 600. Let's say for the sake of it, let's call it 550. They were easily above 550. I think we can agree on that. They tanked to 350 and what was it like 250?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Like that is not something you want to see because imagine a scenario where there's like a more realistic scenario where there's like 50 people using it at the same time, because I feel like that's not that high of a number. So
Right, yeah. So to give you context, this cell site is right next to a grocery store. It's a shopping mall. We got a grocery store. We got a gym. We've got a bunch of other stores that I haven't been to and don't know the names of. We've got an intersection nearby where people are coming to a stop. We've got a Starbucks right there. Like, this is going to be a crowded cell site.
So like that just goes to show, one, T-Mobile isn't doing something right, and I think it's two. I think there's three parts of it at play here. This is my hypothesis, and then Carlos or someone else that maybe knows more can step in here. But this is Dennis's hypothesis. One is that I have a feeling that T-Mobile doesn't have enough sectors on the N41s. Like they might have like one panel doing like this angle, one panel doing this angle, and one panel doing like this angle.
Okay, yeah. So what do you mean by a sector? A sector is like a pie slice that's like covering an area?
Yeah, like the best way I can do this, and this is probably not the greatest analogy in the world, is like you have like your main cell site, but it's broken up into cell sectors, which is where you have the different antenna facing, and each one can service like X amount of people.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
It would be kind of like
so even though there's like different antennas, they're using the same core backhaul structure for the signal. So even if they're serving different areas, like the total connections of that one cell site aggregate. Is that correct?
So I'm going to give you a better example, okay? Let's just say you have gig backhaul, okay?
Yeah.
And let's just say like you had 4 sectors. In a theoretical world, if you were to like limit bandwidth to each sector, you'd have 250 apiece.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I was saying in a different way.
But yeah. Like, so my theory is that it's, as Carlos was alluding to, a combination of poor backhaul, but also poor network management as far as like the software API, as far as like managing it. But
yeah. Dude, I have some crazy. So first of all, Carlos, I don't know how you know this is insane. Apparently there are one panel per sectors, and there are 3 sectors: alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha faces northwest, beta east, and gamma southwest. And I will actually say, Carlos, this is, I'm trying to like mentally figure it out. Northeast, northwest, east, southwest. Yep, there's one southwest. I think this is almost exactly what this cell site is. There are definitely 3 sectors on it. And I think just with the way the building is set up, I think the angles might be a little bit different, but there's 3 sectors in a very similar configuration. So, wow.
But basically, the point that I was getting at with the sector talk is that you run into a situation where you have too many people trying to share one sector. It'd be like if a cable provider only had a node with no splits, and you had like 500 people trying to share like this peak theoretical maximum of like 2 gigabytes of bandwidth to share. It just doesn't work out. Same thing I feel like kind of happens to a similar degree with like T-Mobile cell sites. And this goes back to my statement about how T-Mobile cuts corners and how it doesn't matter if N41 100 megahertz shows up, because I know I have to test it because there's such a variety. Like I told you when I was down at Mick Road in Best Buy, right? I had a good, well optimized site. I got 800 megabits per second roundabout.
Yeah.
Great stuff, right? Meanwhile, in the heart of Pittsburgh, which, to be clear here, they came a long way. It used to be like unusable speeds. But in the heart of Pittsburgh, I was on N41 only getting 200 megabits per second.
Wow.
100 megahertz, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is why I don't like being hard on T-Mobile, right? I used to be a lot more like magenta tinted glasses when it came to T-Mobile, like, right? But like, it gets old, right? It gets real old real fast, right? Because we see Verizon, who is spectrum starved, making things that don't seem possible happen with this very limited amount of spectrum. And you have T-Mobile, who is like a buffet of spectrum, producing such terrible results because they're cutting corners in all of the wrong areas. Like,
yeah, it's
and
like
it shows.
You're getting your 5-course meal shipped out to you from T-Mobile, and 3 of the waiters trip and fall, and the food goes everywhere. But some of the food still makes it. Like they have
no. You're eating at a fancy restaurant, nice seating, everything looks nice, right?
Yeah.
but then they're serving you frozen meals from Dollar General. Okay,
Oh
like
no, that
like
sounds like a nightmare.
that's the T-Mobile. That's like the T-Mobile experience. Like on paper, their network looks like it should be good,
Yeah.
but it's just, and there's exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, it's just not. Like
I mean, sometimes it is. To be fair,
I said, there's exceptions to it.
They're
but
doing cool things with N41, but I think to your point, Verizon's build out has just been insane.
Yeah, but like let's take this one extra step further, okay? That cell site, right? Let's just say we go down the PNC Park. There's a full baseball game going on, right? Who do you think is going to be having a better experience? People on T-Mobile where that kind of ish is happening, or people that are connecting to the millimeter wave sites where Verizon has it, or people that are connecting to five-way carrier aggregation on AT&T, which is getting speeds comparable to N41 to begin with over LTE.
I think you'd be surprised at the speed difference when I run 2 tests simultaneously on Verizon millimeter wave. It was pretty bad, but I shot a Verizon versus Visible ultra wideband 5G video, and ultra wideband took a surprising hit.
Really? Tell me more, Stetson, please, because I don't have a second Verizon line to do such a test.
I'm going off memory here. Visible's obviously capped at 200 megabits per second. Let's say I was hitting like 1600 peak at this 1600 megabits per second at this cell site. I believe it dropped to like 1200 when run at the same time as Visible. Like it was almost like Visible, like if there was literally 1600 megabits per second and Visible was 200, it's like it consumed all of those 200. Like mathematically, it worked out like that. So I'll have to find the footage and like piece something together or do another better test. But there are dips, man. Like I don't know if it's me or like what the situation is, but when you're running 2 phones in speed test mode, it dips.
I mean, I expect dips to a certain extent, but
those dips, yeah.
Like that's the thing, right? Like granted, speed test is bad, but like wrong wording, but like in a real world, like the reason why you have the video throttle, right, is because that way it limits the amount of dips. It allows you to have more like, customers going on. But in your case, in the areas that you've been testing, there's not like enough like redundant connections. So like in an ideal world, let's just say in an ideal world, okay, maybe for the sake of millimeter wave, Verizon says 50 simultaneous connections because they're going to have 4x4 MIMO, 256 QAM, like all these different things to allow to handle like 50 simultaneous connections, pretty darn reliable where everybody's maybe getting a gig or close to it. It sounds like in your scenarios, like, yeah, it's just you and that other person, but maybe there's like a bunch of like other things going on that are being connected that we don't see behind the scenes, is what I'm going to guess.
100%.
My hypothesis, but
I'm down for that. I'm honestly down for that. And
also,
we'll see.
Aiden liked my analogy, I guess, with the fine dining with frozen meals.
Oh, that picture in my mind, I'm just like imagining sitting down in a restaurant and the waiter comes out with this plate with this like reheated frozen meal where the center is still cold. They didn't stir it in the microwave.
That banquet Salisbury steak.
Nope, that is awful. I would be out of there. Nope. Yeah.
You know what's funny is though, despite how much I just tore T-Mobile apart, though, I want to be clear here. I am impressed with how
their deployment's been great.
Yeah, like their deployment's been getting a lot better. Like it is getting better.
The backward's an issue, but they're putting up tons of sites. So like you're more likely to bump into T-Mobile's mid-band 5G than any of the other carriers mid-band or high-band 5G at this point.
100% can get on board that statement. My only issue is, and this is the biggest problem, right? Like I want to be clear here. 200 megabits per second is phenomenal, right? I rag it, but it's phenomenal, right? 600 megabits per second is phenomenal. My main problem that I have is that, remember when we were talking about like US Mobile overpromising, under delivering? T-Mobile does the same thing with their network, right?
Oh my God.
And also, I know the real world isn't ideal conditions, but we know what ideal conditions for N41 is supposed to look like. And we're not seeing it. And nothing that T-Mobile's currently doing with N41 is, in my mind, enabling anything that couldn't have already been done over LTE. And the reason why I go that far is because one thing that I've noticed, remember I told you like Verizon's been very consistent?
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed is that Verizon has also been the one to consistently have lower ping times than T-Mobile or AT&T. They have lower ping times, I want to repeat that, Stetson, than T-Mobile or AT&T in my market. And AT&T is god tier.
Yeah.
Right? They're not the fastest speeds, right? I'm not saying they're getting the fastest speeds, but the ping is low. And you're probably wondering, Dennis, why are you focusing so much on that, right? Because, Stetson, when you load up a website, I don't need 100 megabits per second. Ping time matters more. If I want a game on my phone or do something like that, ping time matters. Video, we talked about, we said as long as you're getting somewhere above 25 megabits per second, it stops mattering. It becomes less and less than matters, right? But it's very consistent. Like, the jitter isn't bad. Like, everything is, like, good, right? And also, I will just say, going back to what I was saying about things not being game-changing, what can we do with T-Mobile's 5G that we couldn't do before? Whereas, what can we do with millimeter wave?
Well, I mean, you can put a new icon in the status bar of your phone. I feel like that's kind of new.
I mean, let's go one step further, okay?
Yeah.
Home internet, right? All right. Home internet, T-Mobile, right? They're selling it. Some people are doing great, others aren't.
Actually, quick tangent. Like, the speed, like the drop in speed that I noticed, like, what if 10 people got T-Mobile home internet in my neighborhood?
My
Like,
point exactly.
holy smokes. Everything would just, like, come to a crawl.
My point exactly, because home internet is a whole different beast, right? N41, maybe for rural areas, can be a great home internet replacement. But if you're trying to do it in like a suburb like what they're trying to do it here, it is a terrible option. Millimeter wave is the candidate up to bat that can offer real competition to something like a cable. Not fiber. No one's going to convince me otherwise. Sorry, fiber is the gold standard. But for cable, millimeter wave 5G is a real piece of competition. And that is something that's different that hasn't been able to really be able to be done before over cell phone. There has been a point in history where you could use wireless and say truly it was better than cable, really. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
I would say, to your point about latency too, like when we had Sasha on, he talked about this 5G use case where it was the low latency, not the crazy fast speeds, but the low latency that was allowing this stadium in Canada. I think it was Bell or Rogers or Telus, one of those. Forgive me for not remembering the exact one, where they had cameras set up in this arena and you could actually pan around the arena on your phone thanks to the low latency. You needed that like sub 15 millisecond ping in order to have the transition between the cameras be smooth.
So I see two comments that have triggered me quite a bit.
Oh, Dennis, we got to get a warning sign.
Trigger warning. One of them is not triggering, but I just want to make a clarification.
Press it. Yeah, sure.
So Zachary, N41 works great for home internet. I'm watching this via the trash can right now, and it's fine. Better than Frontier, 20 megabits per second. I agree. DSL is garbage. T-Mobile's 5G is probably going to be better than DSL. It's the use case where I see N41 and mid-band making sense for that kind of thing. But I'm thinking about where T-Mobile's marketing their home internet, like my suburbs. Not a good fit. There's not even N41 in the suburb is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that. Like I said, it can be good. But the comment that just triggered me a little bit was from Mr. Mods. He said, fiber is good, but Xfinity still offers faster speeds than Fios. That is wrong. That's just wrong. Okay. I'll get into the caveats. Xfinity does offer higher download speeds. 1400 megabits per second is what you get over their 1200 megabit tier because it's over provisioned. And I will give Xfinity is great about actually over providing the service level that they promise, because they say 1200 down, 35 up, and if you run a speed test, it's like 1400 by 40. So Xfinity offers great service, like as far as the actual service goes. They have problems. I talked to Carlos today about pricing, which is not great if you're not on a promo. And I talked about some of the things that infuriate me just across the board in the telecom industry, where they do pricing on like an individual, like house by house basis, which frustrates me. But Fios offers symmetrical speeds. And if we're talking about real world use cases for like what means more to a consumer, that's more important, because most people aren't going to be like me that have multi-gigabit networking like capable equipment, as well as devices that are multi-gig capable to actually take advantage of speeds faster than gigabit. It's just not there at this time, and there's not really a justified use case for it. Like there's a point of diminishing returns, and it happens somewhere around 500 megabits per second for me. Like after 500 megabits per second, like yeah, gig is nice, but it doesn't do anything more for me, right? Like it's fast enough,
Yeah.
right? I might be saving 2 minutes, if that, if I'm lucky. But realistically speaking, somewhere after 500 megabits per second, the internet itself becomes the limiting factor, because there's still a lot of game servers that just aren't
They're
designed.
not optimized. Yeah, they're not ready.
Yeah.
Like they actually can't feed you the data as fast as your internet will allow. Like there are other limitations other than your download speeds at a certain point. And Dennis, you're so right. Like I'm actually trying to back up. I have an 8 terabyte external hard drive. Okay. It's been making some weird sounds. I decided to proactively get everything off of that 8 terabyte drive, which had 7 terabytes full, and move it into Google Drive. What has impacted me? I could not do this over Xfinity's 35 megabit per second upload speed. Like that is really, really slow. So I'm using my fiber connection over, I honestly am blanking on the name of the municipal fiber. It's Nextlight. There we go. I have to use that. Like the upload speed makes a difference, especially for me. And as I'm looking to try and collaborate with people online, maybe a video editor, it's going to be more and more important for me to capture footage, upload it as quickly as possible for them to then download it and begin working. So yeah, upload matters for me quite a lot.
And I want to be clear here. We're talking grand scheme of things. The devil is always in the details. Like I think at some point I went on record talking about how poo-poo Verizon's peering agreements are, which I don't want to go into a super long explanation. Maybe I'll make a video or something on the side for you guys to watch explaining peering agreements and why they're important.
I would watch that.
But long story short, like there's more that goes into it than just the speeds too. And also in defense of cable, right? It wasn't designed with like uploading in mind. Like that just wasn't like how cable was designed. And 35 megabits per second is, for I would say about 95% of the populace still to this day,
Still
a decent amount of upload. Like people are rocking 5 megabits per second upload and not noticing a difference, because most people don't.
Yeah, I mean, we had you on the stream, and what was your upload? Like 5 to 8, 10? Yeah, you were 10, and we had you here. Dennis was here on the show, live streaming. You know, maybe it wasn't a whole lot of headroom per se. Like if you had another person who also needed to do a video call, maybe you would have run into issues. But as you say, 35 megabits per second, you got a family of 3. That's 10 megs each. Like, it's not great as a network enthusiast, but, the point is it gets the job done.
I mean, Stetson, just to give you perspective, a 720p like Zoom conference call, and I say 720p because that's what most people webcams are.
Yeah,
it's something like 2 megabits per second. Like it's
you're totally fine. What am I even saying?
Like, but anywho, one thing I will just say as well is Xfinity does technically offer a speed tier that is a lot faster than Fios, and it's something to be respected from a technological aspect. It's called their Gigabit Pro, but it's $300 a month, and it's not. It's a residential offering, but like for all intents and purposes, I've put this more in the business category because you have to live within, I think it's like 1,000 feet of a fiber place. There is a $1,000 installation cost, and this is like a dedicated fiber line. This is not like GPON. Like this is your fiber line, and when you get it, it's 2 gig symmetrical for your main connection, and then they provision a secondary redundant connection that's a gig. So you're getting 3 gigs of total bandwidth. It's also the only tier that doesn't have the data cap at all across the board, and you can get static IP addresses on.
That is so sweet.
So they offer a pretty crazy thing, but the pricing doesn't make sense. Everything about it doesn't make sense. And it's available in a very, very small pockets. And then on a grander scheme of things, when we talk about municipal options like what Stetson has, I know for a fact a lot of municipalities will actually offer 10 gig for the price, and that Xfinity offers 2 gig. So, but anywho, point being is that Xfinity is a great option from a service level standpoint, not pricing. service level standpoint for many people, and it'll work exceptionally fine. But
Heck
it
yeah.
would be disingenuous to say in any capacity that it's better than any like fiber provider unless they're really screwing the pooch on that network itself. Like when I first got installed with Fios, and I was having major problems, right? So
100%. 100%. So that was a good call. Yeah.
Sorry, that was very passionate talk.
No,
But
no, it was great. I was just like, we have gone through a lot of the topics I was interested in, and now just seeing that the chat's got going on, I was seeing if we got any additional wireless telecom news that we could peruse and look around.
Santiago said he wishes fiber was here, but literally Xfinity is the only provider available at his address. I feel that pain because when I lived in my apartment complex, Xfinity was the only provider. In fact, I was telling Carlos about this, but maybe I'll explain something real quick. Stetson, question to you: have you ever actually asked yourself why things are the way they are when it comes to internet service in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something that's really slimy, and it's probably going to shock you. So, believe it or not, there's actually regulations in place specifically for apartment complexes that are supposed to prevent ISPs in general from working out these shady deals that give them exclusive access to apartment complex, like the one I stayed in, okay?
Yeah.
But guess what ISPs did to get around this and effectively accomplish the same end game goal?
Oh God, I'm an ISP. It's got to be something super sneaky. Like, I don't know. Tell me.
All right, so this is what happens. Stetson, you're a property owner. I'm
Yeah.
Comcast today, okay?
Okay. Hey, Comcast, how's it going? I've got this
Great.
property here.
Yeah, great. I see that. You should let us service that property for your tenants, and we'll give you X amount of dollars. Well, actually, this is what happens. It used to be we'll give you X amount of dollars for depending on how many people you let us sign up. So you would practically be like my salesperson. That's not allowed anymore. So what actually happens is you should let us service this property, and then we'll give you ownership of the lines on your property to you. So you'll get to own the lines to your building. Sound good?
Well, what does that mean for me if I own the lines? Like, do people pay me for the internet?
Well, here's the thing. Since you own the lines, we'll pay you to lease those lines off you with exclusive access. And since you own them, not me, it's totally fine. And you're still getting your kickback from me. Sound like a great game plan?
I mean, I like getting extra money. That sounds good to me. Yeah, all right.
Awesome. And then, by the way, in this very long document, I'm adding a clause that says that no other ISP can come on your property to do anything at all. Like whether it be giving you free McDonald's on campus, talking about Google Fiber or anything like that. Is that okay?
Well, I mean, that actually kind of sounds pretty horrible.
No, cough, cough. Landlords don't give a shit. They're fine with that.
Oh, well, then in that case, what do I care? I'm getting free money anywhere. Let me just sign here and sign here. And is that it? Are you done, Mr. ISP?
Yep. And that is how ISPs effectively get exclusive access to apartment complexes. Because before, it used to be more brazen where it was like, okay, if you get 50 of your tenants to get my service, I'll pay you X amount of whatever I'm making from the revenue.
Yeah.
That became no. So to get around it, they basically, what they did was they said, here's the lines. We're paying you to lease the lines. You're still getting your money. I'm still getting exclusive access. And we, the consumers, are still all getting fucked. So
yeah. Oh.
So yeah, that is the beautiful, wonderful world of how things go. Now, just to be clear here, that's not always the case. Like, there are plenty of instances where it's just a matter of cost is too high, or landlords just don't want people tearing through their buildings. Like, because here's another fun fact: it only takes one bad apple to screw the pooch on a project. Like, I know apartment complexes where they were trying to get fiber installed from Fios, but it's a massive project, and because one person at the top where they needed to go down to run the fiber is like, no, I'm not letting you come into my unit to do this work. It just nixes the project. Like, ISPs don't play the game. Like,
such a disappointment. Such a disappointment.
There's other factors, but that one specifically is the reason why in cities where it should realistically be competitive, it doesn't end up being. So you get these blocks where it's only Fios only at this building, it's only Comcast at this building, and don't even get me started on HOAs where HOA boards start getting it. Yeah, so
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
Wait, Debo Bob just said something about chat being rated M.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I swore it. Yeah.
Well, this was so in the heated moment.
This is not podcast not intended for kids. I don't think we market it to kids anyway. So
It's definitely not flagged for kids.
okay.
I'm checking. I think we covered all the news I wanted to.
Yeah, I mean I would say there's some pretty intense clippable moments out of this, and I think this was a great show.
It was. You should have seen the previous show. For anyone who was there, this show infinitely better. Infinite. This is why we needed Dennis. I literally started the last show like we need Dennis. And,
sorry about that. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off today, and I just died and took a nap.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. It was Fierce Wireless. There was someone from Fierce Wireless who was using Verizon home internet over ultra wideband 5G, and it was actually pretty good. So maybe we'll reach out, try and get her on the show.
Dude, that'd be dope.
I think that's all I've got, Dennis.
Yeah, I feel good. We reached an hour and a half. I feel pretty good with that, and we got a podcast.
Should we do a quick Xfinity mobile speed test?
Yes, if you have it finished. Yeah.
It is 100% not done. Everything is still downloading, but I just remembered that instead of waiting for the Dingus app to download, we can just use the Ookla speed test application itself, or excuse me, the website version. So, first ever Xfinity mobile. It says 5G speed test. We'll give it a whirl. Take it for a spin.
I have a feeling it's going to be rough because it's probably downloading over the cell data while it's happening. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not my bug, but you could be happy with that.
Look at that, guys.
What's Verizon like at your house? Is that pretty?
That's normal. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's normal.
Wow. Yeah. Right on.
What's the upload? Hold up. You can't.
Oh, it only did the download.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I can do Google speed test.
Okay.
Google
is
test.
That pretty on par for your house, or have you seen higher?
Oh yeah, no, that's very on par.
Okay.
Look at that. Oh, this is great. I've got a Verizon line here. Should we just see what that's?
Yes.
Should I do them at the same time and just watch the speeds absolutely tank?
Yeah, do one without it because I want to see what Verizon Direct pulls, and then do them at the same time.
All right, so this is finishing up here. I'll give you the results, and then we'll do the Verizon test. It's very handy. I have these. All right, will you please stop? It's 65 megabits per second down, 1.12 up. 65 down, 1 up. This is Verizon proper on Verizon's Play More Unlimited plan. I'll pop this into solo mode so you can see here. See that? That's pretty much spot on.
That is slightly surprising considering that the Xfinity line is deprioritized because you're on the unlimited.
It's deprioritized, but I don't think there's too many active connections right now. The upload, that's different. Whoa.
Yeah. I wonder. Is that the iPhone 13 or is that the 12?
So that's a great call, Dennis. So this is the 13, and Xfinity is currently on the 12 because that's what they provided.
Right. I was gonna say. I think
the camera difference.
I think if I remember correctly from other videos, the new modem and the new iPhone has been doing better in general on upload, but download speed has been worse typically.
Yeah. So we can do a side by side. Oh.
So Sneed said Xfinity is business account priority, but
that's only for the buy the gig plans.
Yeah, for the regular unlimited, and this is based off of Xfinity's own website for how they market in the terms of service. They say it's deprioritized.
Yeah. So this is okay. I'm already soloed, so we can do side by side. We'll see the results.
I wonder if
here.
Being an app makes a difference too, but we'll see.
Hey, I'm doing the best. We're doing this best we can.
Oh.
Whoa. They're like splitting it. It's like 50-50.
Actually, Xfinity's higher, right? Because that's the
what?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh. Whoa. Oh, sorry guys. I turned it off. My goodness. It finished with a faster speed.
What's the ping? I can't tell what the ping is.
Ping was 32 Xfinity, 26 Verizon Direct.
So within the realm of.
Within the realm?
Yeah.
I think we're going to do some more testing. That's what I think.
I think so too. Am I still actually? I'm in the back shot. I don't
yeah, sorry. I full screen myself just to like get those phones as big as possible. But you're still here, yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you put me in the back shot or people could hear me or not. But yeah. Also, I just got a text message. Is this from Lowe's? Oh no, it's from someone else. Anyway, I'll ignore that for later. But anywho, Yeah, this is fun. I can't wait to see you do your testing. I can't wait to do more testing with my Verizon access. And
Carlos, yeah, gotta hook me up.
I'm just so happy with how things are going right now. It's been a lot of fun times, a lot of busyness going on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this stream. Please make sure, if you're not doing so already, because I looked at the analytics, make sure you're subscribing and hang that bell notification so you don't miss when I do surprise live streams, when Stetson does his surprise stuff, because we got a lot of great content in the pipeline here for this channel.
Absolutely. Make sure you're hitting the like button on this video. And thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, our like button is giving us, well, it's given us some likes. It hasn't actually paid out. We need to talk with them about maybe switching currencies. Dennis, have you done that yet? That was on you, right? Okay. But seriously, guys, yeah, Albertizzi, watch the front part of this stream. We get to the Verizon business plans. It's going to be awesome. So that is it for this stream. Thank you all so much for joining. Smash the like button, subscribe, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.